Okay, be honest for a second. Have you ever watched a money video where someone casually says, "Yeah, just max out your Roth IRA, invest aggressively, automate everything, and you'll be fine." And you're sitting there thinking, "Cool, love that for you. But my checking account is doing that thing where it drops below 3 digits and I start mentally calculating which bills can wait." Because if that's you, if you've tried following good money advice and somehow ended up more stressed, more confused, and weirdly, more guilty, this video is for you. Here's the thing. A lot of popular money habits do work. They're just designed for people who already have a financial cushion. And when you try to apply them before you have that cushion, they don't help. They actually backfire. So today, I want to talk about 7 money habits that only work after you have $10,000 saved, and why trying them too early can quietly keep you stuck. My name is James, and I spend way too much time thinking about getting out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. If you're someone who described the viewer's financial struggle, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. And yes, that sentence sounded a little clunky, but stay with me, because what we're about to get into might save you years of financial frustration. Before someone comments, "Why $10,000? That's arbitrary?" It kind of is, but also it isn't. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 37% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency without borrowing. That means most people aren't operating with a buffer. They're operating on hope. At around $10,000 saved, something shifts psychologically and mathematically. You're no longer one surprise away from disaster. Your decisions stop being purely reactive. You can take advantage of opportunities instead of just surviving problems. This is the point where advanced money habits actually start working the way they're advertised. All right, let's get into it. This is the big one. You hear this everywhere. Invest early, invest often. Every dollar not invested is wasted. Here's what most people don't realize. That advice assumes you already have stability. Let's do the math. Say you invest $500 a month into the stock market. Historically, the market averages about 8% annually. Sounds great, until you don't have an emergency fund. Now your car breaks down. Repair costs $1,200. You don't have the cash, so you put it on a credit card at 22% interest, or sell your investments during a downturn, or miss rent and spiral into late fees. Psychologically, this is brutal. You start associating investing with stress, loss, and regret. This is where it gets really interesting. People who invest before they're stable are more likely to panic sell, stop contributing entirely, or avoid investing for years afterward. The habit isn't bad. The timing is. Action step. Before investing aggressively, build a $10,000 buffer. Until then, invest lightly or just enough to get a match. Nothing more. Automation is powerful, but only when your finances are predictable. If your income fluctuates or your expenses are barely under control, automation can turn into overdraft fees, missed payments, and constant anxiety. Now, you might be thinking, but automation keeps me disciplined. True, when you have margin. Without margin, automation feels like your own bank account is attacking you. Here's the analogy. Automation is like cruise control. It's amazing on the highway. It's a terrible idea in a parking lot full of potholes. With $10,000 saved, automation works because you have room for mistakes. Timing issues don't destroy you. You're not living on the edge of zero. Manually manage your money until you're stable. Then automate savings, investing, and bills after you've proven your system works. This one gets people in trouble fast. Credit card points are great. Travel hacking is real. Cash back adds up. But this only works if you never carry a balance. Here's the uncomfortable statistic. The average credit card interest rate is now over 20%. If you're using credit cards without a strong savings buffer, one bad month turns into interest, stress, guilt, and a balance that quietly grows. Psychologically, credit cards create distance from pain. You don't feel the spending, With $10,000 saved, you can play the credit card game strategically. Without it, you're playing defense while the bank plays offense. Use debit or limited credit until you have savings. Then, and only then, optimize rewards. This is where Finance YouTube gets a little obsessed. People love talking about tax strategies. Roth versus traditional tax loss, harvesting backdoor contributions. Here's the thing. If your net worth is under $10,000, taxes are not your biggest problem. Cash flow is. Stability is. Consistency is. Spending hours optimizing a $300 tax difference while ignoring unstable finances is like rearranging furniture in a house with a leaking roof. Focus on earning more, spending intentionally, and saving consistently. Optimize taxes later. This one is controversial. Leverage can be powerful, but leverage magnifies whatever foundation you have. If your foundation is shaky, debt amplifies stress and risk. Here's what most people don't realize. Debt removes flexibility. With $10,000 saved, debt becomes a tool. Without it, debt becomes a trap. Avoid optional debt until you have savings. Period. Passive income sounds amazing. Rental properties, dividends, side hustles that run themselves. But almost all passive income requires active capital and active effort up front. When you're broke, or close to it, this becomes exhausting. Psychologically, it feels like failure because results take time. With $10,000 saved, you can experiment without panic. Without it, every delay feels personal. Build stability first, then build income streams. This is subtle but important. Net worth looks impressive on paper, but liquidity keeps you sane. You can have a high net worth tied up in assets and still feel constantly stressed if you can't access cash. $10,000 in savings buys you peace, patience, decision-making power, and that changes everything. Here's the real issue. Money advice often ignores human behavior. When you don't have savings, your brain is in survival mode. Scarcity narrows focus. It increases impulsivity. It reduces long-term thinking. Once you cross that $10,000 mark, your nervous system calms down. You stop making fear-based decisions. That's when good money habits finally start working. If you've been following all the right advice and still feel behind, you're not broken. You're just early. Build the foundation first, then, and only then, stack the advanced strategies on top. If this video helped you reframe your money journey, hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and share it with someone who feels stuck but doesn't know why. You're closer than you think.